Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here, and this time around we're going to take a look at a couple of the most detested Transformers from the G1 line. We're talking about the Decepticon Clones. We have here Pounce and Wingspan. Both of these guys first appeared on the toy shelves in 1987. They were sold as a 2-pack. They would also be available in 1988, and they would be discontinued by 1989. And we would not get replacements for them in their respective function. Now, while they were detested back in the day due to their rather poor alternate modes, the twins are making a comeback of sorts in the modern day, as eventually they will be released as part of the Earthrise series in a Target exclusive 2-pack, and plus the two of them also appear in the Titans Return card expansion for the Transformers card game. So, obviously, these guys are making something of a comeback. But is it really going to be worth it? In reality, probably not with the way these guys were from their original form. Hopefully, the modern versions will be an improvement. At any rate, let's get ready and take a look at these two individually and see what we can figure out about them. Okay, first off, we'll take a look at Pounce. Of course, you can tell Pounce, due to the fact that he's got the little panther, the puma legs, are attached to the back of his arms. And if you think they look bad back here, wait till you see him in the alternate mode. Now, you'll also notice that I've got his guns positioned a little differently. That's because he can hold his guns in a different way. His weapons are described as missile-launching bayonets. So he can use it like a regular gun, or he can also hold it like a sword. So, in that tradition, I've gone with him going one of each. Of course, for his articulation, it's primarily located in his arms. You can rotate his arms all the way at the shoulder. Plus, due to the way that they transform, his arms can be folded inward at the shoulder, so he can cross an arm across his chest. And that's pretty much all he can do. Now, of course, to transform Pounce, first thing we have to do is we have to remove his weapons. And we'll show the weapons off a little later. Now, the first thing they usually recommend that we do would be to fold in his fists. But on my example here, they are very, very difficult, if not impossible, to get them back out without some sort of assistance. I had the assistance in the form of a screwdriver and practically took the arm apart to get the hands back out. So we are not going to fold them inward. Now we'll come back here, we'll take his head and we will fold it down like so, so he's looking at his chest. And right here on his back, this light purple section, we will fold out, and then fold out the animal head. Then we can fold the robot head inside that cavity, and then close it up, so the animal head is on top. We'll take his arms, and we will fold them down onto his chest. Then we can lower the legs from the sides of the arms, like so. Then back here on his legs, we're going to take them and bend his legs at the knees, like so. Then as we fold out the light purple sections, they will fold his feet up. We just adjust them a little bit so that it'll make him stand. Then between his legs, you will fold out this purple tail. And there is Pounce in his alternate mode. He is a puma. Now, of course, the biggest gripe that we have about it is how in the heck does he actually stand on these scrawny little legs? I mean, of course, the puma's articulation, we can move the legs all the way around on the front, and of course you do have some posability on the back. You can adjust the tail however you wish, back and forth. And of course the head can look up so far, and he can look straight down. And that's pretty much about it. However, he does have a couple of holes here on the back, so you can mount the guns on him. Like so. They say that Pounce's job is to be an infiltrator. I don't see how he'd be infiltrating anything looking this silly. Pounce is also described as being borderline psychotic. As it's been said that if Autobots happen to find an encampment of theirs that they've lost communications with and find that the bodies of the Autobots that were there have been horribly torn apart, they usually can suspect that Pounce was the one behind it. When in reality, the way this toy looks, he probably doesn't look any more intimidating than a house cat. Anyway, let's take a look at his clone brother. Now, of course, here we have Wingspan. As you can see, he's pretty similar in robot mode, at least from the front. You turn him to the back, you can pretty much see this backpack unit, which of course is where his wings are. Wingspan has the same type of articulation that Pounce did. You can rotate the arm at the shoulder all the way, and of course, due to the way it's set up, well, in his case, you can't move his arms onto the shoulder. This is just a painted detail. So, he doesn't have near as much articulation as Pounce does. As you can see, he also doesn't get the advantage to hold his guns in a different way. His are just regular guns. Now, they're described as electro-burst rifles. But he doesn't look too bad with them. Although on mine, the left hand seems to be a little wonky about holding the guns. Yeah. Pick the gun up off the floor. Alright, to transform him again, you would have to fold the fists in. And as I explained with Pounce, I am not about to take this guy apart to fix that. So, instead, we will just leave the fists out. You'll take his head and you will fold it and the chest cavity forwards, like so, to reveal where the animal head is. But then this time you have to slide the body down the legs a bit to get the head to pop up. And then you can fold out the animal head. Then you will fold the robot's head so that it lays against the chest plate, and then close the chest plate up. If you've pushed him down far enough, the head will go in. If you have not pushed him down far enough, the head will not go in at all. So keep that in mind. And then, of course, you can bend him at the knees after you shift the feet a bit. You should bend here. Now, the knees are somewhat independent. You just fold back the leg coverings at the knees to separate out his bird legs. And then, of course, you come around to the back. You can swing the backpack in half out to the sides, and then swivel out the extra portion to fold out the wings. And then there you have it. Wingspan's alternate mode is a hawk. A hawk does not stand very well. You know, it doesn't help. One of the legs is a little bit on the loose side. But he's a hawk. Now, of course, from the side a bit like that, Wingspan doesn't look too bad. However, many of the promotional materials, like the checklists, would show him from this side. And when you look at him from this side, yeah, he looks terrible. He looks very terrible when viewed from the front. Just due to the fact, the arms are clearly visible here, even without my folding in the hands. And of course, on the wings, there is a couple of holes, so you can mount the guns. But of course, on closer inspection, you'll look here at the back of the guns, and it looks like he has jet turbines to allow him to go flying. So that kind of breaks up the illusion a bit. For articulation, he does have a little bit better in this mode than Pounce, as you can rock the head a bit. The wings, of course, will move at the shoulder and, of course, in the middle. So you do have a lot of positioning with the wings. And, of course, you can adjust the legs at the knee. Of course, like I said, this one is kind of a worn example here. So it doesn't stand very, very good. But all in all, that's how he looks. And then, of course, when we bring Pounce back in, these guys just look pathetic. I'm sorry. Okay, now that we're done making fun of them, let's take a look at their loose parts. Of course, the only loose parts for Pounce are these guns, which, as I told you, were missile-launching bayonets. So pretty much you have a gun up here, and you have the long bayonet beneath it. Now, even though they're said to be a missile launcher, they have a standard ammunition magazine mounted in here, so it must be very small rockets. And of course you also got the slight detailing of a scope up here. Of course back here's the hand grip, so you can use it like a sword. Otherwise there's nothing really fancy about these. For Wingspan, you have two of these. There's electro burst rifles. And of course, there's even less appealing detail on his guns. Just due to the way they are. And then, of course, you have the two wings. A right wing and a left wing. These just connect on with a simple post on the back, as you can clearly see here. And since they're hinged, they do fold up very nicely. So it probably allowed them to get lost a little easily. Or make a trip up the vacuum cleaner. Surprisingly, these wings are rather difficult to find on the secondary market. So, if you are looking to add these guys to your collection, do expect you are going to have to hunt for a good pair of wings. Alright, we'll just leave them as is for the moment. Either that or maybe people will think this is an episode of Wild Earth or something. Maybe it's Discovery on PBS. But at any rate, we'll take a look at the instructions here. And you'll see the instructions don't list their names, just list them as Decepticon Clones. Same thing was true for the Autobot clones that were released that year as well. So you can see they were packaged together in robot mode. The idea being was that you would use the rub signs to help tell them apart. I would have demonstrated that, but the rub signs on my examples don't really show up very well in the camera. I also don't think they work very well. You'll notice here the instructions also do not list the wings for Wingspan, so another reason why you should trust a source like this channel over the instructions. And it starts off by showing you how to transform Pounce into a puma. Of course, they went a little differently than I did, but that's okay. And then we get down in the corner, we start with Wingspan. They also fail to show the mounting of the weapons on them. And then, of course, how to apply the stickers. As you can see here, they had quite a few stickers to be put on them. Then on here on the final page, we had the rub sign instructions, the robot points, and the reading of the tech specs. Speaking of their tech specs, they each had their own, respectively. So we'll take a look at them one at a time. We'll start with Pounce. As you can see, the picture is of the Puma form instead. It's all done up in purple to show he's a Decepticon. It even lists he's a Decepticon. It gives his name as Pounce, and his function is Infiltrator. His motto is, "Terror is the stage on which I perform." Sly, silent, and savage, the right machine for the right job. Often ignores his victims' pleas for mercy. In Puma mode, can leap 0.7 miles. Possesses superior eyesight and sense of smell. In robot mode, laser rangefinder and optical sensors provides 99.4% accuracy with twin anti-personnel missile launching bayonets. Clone brother Wingspan. So you see, he has a pretty advanced targeting system to be able to fire his missile launching bayonets. But you have to wonder if it really needs to be all that accurate. If it's a missile launcher, basically you only have to hit the general area in most cases. At any rate, let's see how his stats stack up. It gives his strength as 5, his intelligence is 7, his speed is 4, so he is a little bit slow. His endurance is 5, his rank is 6, his courage is 8, his firepower is 7, and his skill is 10, so he is a very dangerous robot, but he is a little bit on the weak and slow side. And at any rate, we move on to Wingspan. Of course, it shows a picture of him in the Hawk mode. It's all done in purple to show he's a Decepticon. Also lists that he's a Decepticon. It gives his name as Wingspan, and his function is Data Processor. His motto is, "Knowledge is the most deadly weapon of all." Always poking his beak where it doesn't belong. Nosy. Voracious appetite for new data to analyze. Looks in people's windows as readily as he spies on enemy troops. So watch it when you see a bird perched in your windowsill. It may be a Decepticon. In Hawk mode, has superb vision. Chemical and infrared sensors collect and analyze geographical data, locate resources. In robot mode, has 2 electro-burst rifles. Clone brother is Pounce. And notice on here, they may give the proper usage for putting "is" on here in the sentence, whereas on Pounce, we just get Clone brother Wingspan. But yet, you can clearly see there was enough room they could put "is" Wingspan in there. At any rate, let's lay the decoder over here and see how good Wingspan is. It gives his strength as 5 as well. Obviously, they don't hit the gym very much. His intelligence is listed as 9. His speed is 6. His endurance is 5, his rank is 6, his courage is 7, as is his firepower, and his skill is 9. So again, he really has about the same weaknesses as his clone brother. Now we get down to my thoughts. What do I think of Pounce and Wingspan? Well, as characters, they would have been interesting to behold. They certainly filled valuable roles within the Decepticon army that they really needed. The Decepticons have always been about brute force over anything else, and that doesn't always work for a full military strategy. You can't always rely on brute force, as that often has unintended side effects and consequences that turn out in the long run to worsen your military situation. You need characters that can infiltrate and get into hard-to-reach areas silently, and you also need guys that can take the data that you're receiving from intelligence and figure out what it means. So the guys do fill a valuable role in the Decepticon army. Their robot modes, they're not bad per se. They are very nicely done up. It's just when we get to their alternate modes, that's where they really fall apart in the eyes of the fans. Especially as you see them here now. Their alternate modes are terribly designed. There is no getting around that. And that is their biggest downfall. A lot of kids probably didn't even want these growing up, especially if you saw them on the checklist. You see how Wingspan was displayed, and it almost leaves you to wonder what was the point. As I said, they're about to get a new issue for them, as they are going to be a Target exclusive for the Earthrise lineup sometime this year, COVID pandemic depending. So far, all we've seen of them in that is the robot modes. We haven't gotten to see how their animal modes will look. But the robots are very reminiscent to their G1 counterparts here. So, hopefully with modern toy engineering, Hasbro and Takara have found a way to make these guys look considerably better than these two here. Because, as I said, they do provide a valuable service that the Decepticons need militarily. But unfortunately, these G1 guys they don't look as imposing as they should be. And that concludes my review of the Decepticon Clones, Pounce and Wingspan. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you like this video, please drop me a thumbs up here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button below and join our ranks. And also ring the bell so you'll get notified as I post new content. I encourage you also to share this video with your friends and fellow collectors. That's what helps this channel grow. And of course, leave your thoughts about the clones in the comments down below. This is Sparkster1701 saying that next month here for August, we're going to go back to taking a look at some of the Titans Return toys. Because when I originally filmed them up was when the pandemic really started, and I didn't get to show off as many as I wanted to. And now that we've gotten a full look at who all came out in the cards, there's some I'd like to show off to you, so I hope you'll all stick around for it, and I'll catch you all later.